Hangout, a podcast where two bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condo with Kate, and I'm joined by my regular co-host,
Mr. Ben Errington.
Mr. Ben Errington. This is the 100th time we've spoken in person. We've never spoken to each other outside of this podcast.
Well, I like to keep it. I like to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah.
When you speak to someone for like an hour plus one week, you want to keep time. You're like, nah, not interested.
No, because then it becomes a marriage. Like, I'm sure if we talked any more than we already do, I think we'd be technically in a relationship, and we'd have to change our Facebook status. High.
I've been tempted to change my Facebook status once.
I have. I didn't tell you. I have. Changed yours.
I've done it. Everyone else can see it. You can.
Yeah.
I blocked you. So you've done that intro 100 times. Well, I think you've done that intro 99 times. But I did it once, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was literally like. So, do you feel like it's second nature now? Do you have to read it? Is it written down somewhere and you read it out or not?
No, I don't read it, and that's why I get it wrong sometimes. Still, like 100 times, and I still get it wrong sometimes.
If you got it, I think you're pretty much 100%. You must have a 99.5% record.
I think what it is my brain's like, you can't just say it the same way, exactly the same time. So my brain's trying to find new frequencies to hit. So my voice might break on the second word or the fourth word, but it'll break at some point.
Can I mix it up?
I've noticed that I'm going through sort of a second puberty. My voice is dropping a second time. It's either dropping or reverting back to its young, youthful state. I'm not too sure.
But you think it's dropping even deeper?
No, it's either dropping even deeper or it's going back to the old-fashioned pre-teen years. Because my voice keeps cracking. Yeah, hello. It just keeps coming out. And sort of,
Yeah, it's just your voice trying to keep you on your toes, you know?
Yeah.
I always think, you know what the voice Batman does?
Yeah.
Main Nolan version. Imagine like his voice broke at one point when he was doing that.
You look like a right idiot. Thing is, if he talks like that, I mean, that must take some practice, but if he talks like that, like, surely he gets a horrific cough and just has to stop his interrogations just to... Sorry.
Christian Bale, like, he does that voice, doesn't he? But in the Ben Affleck versions, he's got like a little modulator thing, hasn't he?
I think Batman would use a modulator. That makes more sense.
Yeah. He's got to do a voice though, because you can't just go, "All right," because I'll just go, "Are you Bruce Wayne or something?" You sound like him. Because I reckon it'd be pretty damn. I reckon it'd be good to. It'd be easy to identify Bruce Wayne's voice, considering how famous he is in the.
He's on TV. He's on TV all the time. He should put on a voice like when he's Batman. He should put on when you go full Bristol. All right, mate.
Right, mate. I'm Batman over here, and I'm sorry I scared you. Threw a batarang at you, didn't I? I'm just real sorry about that.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Come for a pint of cider?
Absolutely terrifying. Yeah.
Terrifying.
So this is the 100th episode. I don't know if I've got anything special lined up. Have you?
You what? Well, it's just special enough to just be sharing the 100th episode with you, Luke. You agree? You drank slowly. I suppose. Think about what else you could have achieved with that if you didn't do these episodes.
Well,
if you didn't do so a week. That's not just the recording of it, right? Not just the recording, the editing, the uploading.
The editing, he says. As if there's any sort of editing going on.
What?
As if there's any editing going on. I just whop it all into the Logic and upload.
It's literally when I make the YouTube video, I just go, here's an end, here's a start, here's the end, chuck it in. Whatever happens, happens. Sometimes when I know we've gone wrong halfway through, I've got to like cut something out.
Yeah.
But then that's when it becomes a chore because I'm like, oh, where was it?
Yeah.
Oh. Sometimes I spend 30 seconds editing. I'm like, oh god, give me a break.
Yeah. Do you listen back to the episodes?
Occasionally, it's a weird one. If it's a particularly funny one where I know we're having some right laughs.
Yeah.
I like to go back to it and but most of the time I don't think I wouldn't listen back to the whole thing because usually we put it out a day after we record it. So listening back to it after literally what you said last night is strange.
Yeah,
I
I
find.
think there'd be something kind of wrong with you if you were listening back to yourself, like for an hour. Like you spent
Yeah,
that
no.
hour already doing that conversation.
Sometimes I might randomly drop into some older episodes and listen to them for a little bit, just to kind of remember stuff.
Yeah,
Because
there's times where I think you've made me laugh, and I've just had to go back just to hear something again.
yeah, that's good. I kind of just scrub through and try and look at the moment when both
Yeah.
of our eyes are shut,
Yeah.
and I go, "Are they all right?" Yeah, they're fine. They're having a
Yeah.
laugh. Yeah, there's definitely some funny moments that like I've gone back and listened to, and I don't even remember that, but that's good. That's premium content right there.
You
Premium podcast content.
you made like a video where it was like a quick snapshot of our faces through each episode.
Yeah,
That was quite interesting.
I did kind of. Oh, what the thing, the
Yeah.
one with all the files. Yeah, there was a thing where, if you remember, once I did sort of like a video, a 20-second snippet of like the highlights of the episode,
Yeah.
and I was gonna do that for every episode, but then I think I did it once, and I found it quite taxing because it's like
Yeah.
it's like generally trying to find some fun. And I even thought about doing it like a highlight of the 100 episodes, like some funny bits or just some random bits.
Yeah.
I kind of gave up on the idea almost immediately. So
There's
maybe I'll do that.
there's too much raw material to like sift through.
It would
There's
have to be
so much faff.
There's a lot of faff. There's a lot of faff. There's a
Yeah.
lot of guff. There's a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
There's that stuff.
That's our
But,
style though, isn't it? I mean, that's what we do.
It's good because think about how much content, how much of us chatting waffle is now out there in podcast form and in video form on YouTube.
Yeah.
That heaven forbid if something terrible was one of us. There's loads of stuff to. You know what I mean? If I miss you or you miss me after we passed on, hopefully not for decades now. But there's loads of stuff there where you can listen back to it and you can pretend you're having a horror hangout up in heaven.
Imagine you were driving your car listening to this podcast and you crashed and you were upside down, bleeding out, waiting for death. And your final the final noises that you hear are me and you talking about absolute nonsense.
Are you doing this?
Yeah.
Episode. Me doing a horrible Bristolian. Well, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, Luke. I mean,
Me too.
One of those things. Because sometimes when you start something, you think, well, I don't think you always think of it having an end, but I guess you don't. I didn't anticipate, I wonder where we'll be in 100 episodes because.
Yeah. Now I think where we'll be in 100 years. Will we be still recording this podcast? I would think so.
We'll be heads in jars.
Yeah.
Recording podcast content. Yeah, we'll run out of horror films eventually. Someone said that to me recently. I said, we're coming up to doing 100 episodes and they were like, hang on a minute, 100 episodes, how many horror films are there? And I was like, a lot more than 100. Like there are dozens of horror films every year.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll run out soon. It's like, well, the thing is we do review the crap ones as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think we will ever.
Well, we won't. I feel like we've got plenty of good ones left.
Oh yeah, definitely loads of good ones, but then loads of like. I think almost every day I go, that film. Oh, we should do that on the podcast.
Do you think your taste in horror movies has changed at all?
I think what I've had the chance to do is watch and review films that perhaps I would have never ever watched. Like I would have never gone out of my way to watch that film. And I think that's a good thing because there are some things that I'm happy that I've seen, I'm fans of, and so yeah, I think my taste is probably. Yeah, I feel like I'm more of a connoisseur because I think before I was a fan, but I would never have considered myself sort of like a connoisseur. I could discuss. Yeah, but now I feel like I still don't think like I'm a absolute expert, but I think I'm getting where I'm a bit more of a horror buff. Whereas now it's sort of it's a go-to genre for me. It used to be horror and 2 or 3 other genres. Now it seems to be like horror will kind of take precedent over almost anything.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting to sort of get an idea of because before I had no idea how it changed over the years, and like now I've sort of have a really good understanding, I think, of how the sort of the genres changed over the years, and from like the 60s to the 80s to noughties and that kind of thing. But and also there's like films that I've seen now that, even though I didn't particularly enjoy, if someone was like, if there was like a quiz on the internet and it said how many of these horror films have you seen, and it would include like ones that I would never watch, and I'll put a little tick next to it, and I'll go,
Yeah.
I feel quite good about myself.
Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Never seen that?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's handy to do. And sometimes you overhear people having a conversation, or you look at someone and they go, "Oh, I'm a huge horror fan," and I think they have no idea what I've been through. You have no idea the things I've seen for horror. Like someone recently came up to me and they said, so I've got like a shining patch that I wear on the back of like a denim jacket, and I was at a gig, and someone kind of nudged me and kind of went, "Oh, you got a shining patch on your bag and on your back," and I was, "Oh yeah, nice one." Just like one of those moments. And then she turned around and she had an Evil Dead patch on her back.
That's cool. Yeah.
But, have you seen that? And I just went, "Oh, I've seen that."
Which one? Are you talking about the one from the... Did you get into like the details of it?
I just went, yeah, I like that film. I rated it B+ on Horror Hangout of iTunes and YouTube. She was like,
yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What's a podcast?
So, what's a podcast? Do you think they'll ever change the name of what a podcast is, considering like the thing that made it be called the podcast isn't really a thing anymore? Well, it is a thing, but iTunes is going.
But now they've called it podcasts. Now it's specifically called it podcasts. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm confused by. You can't really change it now, can you?
No, it's a podcast. I mean, in the future, like they might change. There'll be a new technology where you don't even hear the words; you just sort of sniff them up, and it's like, "Oh, that's some interesting conversation."
Yes. Or like the thing,
and that'll get a new word.
Or like the thing we discussed recently, where you're like a villain in a film just absorbs the internet real quick. Just type some things.
Yeah.
Now I know the history of the world. But the thing is, when they sorry, I'm waffling now. When they suck up the internet as well, they're going to suffer.
Someone's dying in their car listening to this moment. What are you going to say?
yeah, me. Someone's going. If you suck up all the information from the internet, like a villain does in a film, you're going to suck up all the shit as well. You're going to suck up all the nonsense of people, all the spam, all the conspiracy theories,
memes,
all the memes, all of the porno, everything. Like,
well, it's 9% porno, isn't it? So you can't be healthy for you. You can't be healthy.
So you'd be a villain, but you'd be like, "I'm so horny and I love just BDSM, everything."
Yeah.
Talking about BDSM, today's film.
That's a nice segue. Okay, so today's film we're talking about Hellraiser. This was voted for by the people, and by the people I mean by the Horror Hangout Facebook group and followers on Twitter.
Yeah. It wasn't definitive. The answer wasn't definitive, and because there was an outright winner on Twitter, I kind of took it upon myself to say, yeah, come on, let's do that.
Well, also Laura's been trying to get us to watch Hellraiser for a long time.
Yeah, and I think she's kind of right. It's been something that we've mentioned as a glaring omission from the original 50. It's something that we've always kind of wanted to do. Both of us, I think you're probably a bigger Clive Barker fan than me, but I've kind of always appreciated his work. So yeah, it was a good one to think. Have you, before we delve in, have you had any guffs this week?
Not really. I mean, I watched. I started watching the Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Have we discussed this already?
Maybe we have. Maybe that sounds right because
I had a real moment of deja vu.
Yeah.
Don't tell me again, for fuck's sake. I'm joking.
I'll tell you when I'm finished with the series, and then I'll tell you if it's good or not.
Okay. Then you have an actual opinion on it.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of bits of news which I decided to bring along. Number one is a Hellraiser TV series.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if you know much about this. Do you know much about this? This was fairly new. I knew they were going to be developing a new film, but I didn't know anything about a TV series.
Yeah, I think I saw David S. Goyer is going to be running it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
he?
So it's a producer of It, Roy Lee, producer of Ready Player One, Dan Farah, joined forces to bring it to the small screen. So they've got the rights for it somehow. I don't know. Apparently the
Maybe it's
rights are
because
there.
it's a TV show instead of a film. Maybe that's
Yeah,
their
because
angle.
there have been some rights issues with it for quite a while, haven't there? I think
Yeah,
someone's controlled the TV rights since someone sold it in 1989. So yeah, just the intention to use the mythology established in the movie franchise and the novella, the Hellbound Heart, as a launchpad for a new series that could be an anthology or a more traditional narrative. But I mean, it could. I mean, it could work as both of those, really, couldn't it?
I hope they do something completely original, not like retread the films, and it sort of
Yeah.
goes something quite different. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
So yeah, I mean, it looks like David S. Goyer is writing a loyal, evolved reimagining of the original feature film.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I guess just more of the same. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because David S. Goyer is one of those where like he's obviously had some hits, but he's had some stinkers.
yeah,
Like we talk about his hits, we talk about his Batman Begins, we talk about Blade 2, but he's had some stinkers. He did Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, but I think he's written a lot of crap as well, right?
yeah. I think he's just one of the guys who's just he just writes tons and just puts it all out. So I mean, hopefully we get him on a good day. I'm sure he does a
Oh
script
yeah,
today.
I hope it'll take more than a day on it, but maybe he won't. Maybe he'll go. I'm gonna bash this out in a day. Whatever comes out, that's it. That's it.
That's it. It's golden. I think yeah, I'd be interested. I think the TV show is the better route. I think that'd be more interesting to do like a 6 episode season and find some fresh angle
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't think you could do the exact same because Hellraiser, the film, this film, number one, is really sort of melodramatic soap opera style storytelling,
Yeah.
but within sort of horror. So I guess they could do that in a sort of American Horror Story style way and have different interconnecting soap opera elements with the different cenobites and because this, I mean, Hellraiser is amazing because it's not just the demon, it's also it's got the serial killer aspect. Although, in fact, I've got it written here. So it's got sadist demon monks, skinless zombie sexy man, serial killer stepmom, and like a big puzzle box Rubik's cube, premium Rubik's cube. It's got it all. Like
Premium Rubik's cube.
they've got so much sort of going on
What kind of
in this.
cubes you got?
You what?
What kind of Rubik's cubes you got? Well, we got these ones. These are the lower level. got these ones, which kind of like for beginners, but you know,
Yeah.
some people dabble. Premium Rubik's cube, please.
Premium. Yeah.
I feel like I'm caught in all the various bits of it. That one, the premium Rubik's cube.
Yeah. You see, there's ones like Sudokus as well. You got like sort of solve the Sudokus on each side as you, or there's a numbered one or something. I don't know how it works.
It looks pretty damn complicated.
Yeah. Apparently, if you finish that one, you open the gates of heaven. Why not? Sure.
You open the gates to heaven, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want me to do a synopsis?
Yeah, man.
On this?
Yeah. Pop one out.
Do I have?
Synopsis.
Okay. So Hellraiser is a 1987 British horror film, written and directed by Clive Barker, produced by Christopher Figg, based on Barker's novella. Based on Barker's novella, The Hellbound Heart. The film marked Barker's directorial debut, and he's only done a few things other than that, right? Films, at least. I know he did Nightbreed, but
Yeah.
and one of everything.
Is this part of synopsis?
The synopsis is an unfaithful wife encounters a zombie of her dead lover. The demonic cenobites are pursuing him after he escaped their sadomasochistic underworld.
Yeah.
Sounds intense, right?
So Clive Barker did this when he was 34. So that's like, well, so he, I think he published the books of Blood and Hellbound Heart around the time. I think he was in his 30s, either late 20s or early 30s. But he looks like he was 17. He's just got the face of an angel, and he so he made this at 34. There'd been a couple of films based on some previous works of his. I can't remember what the first one's called, but he said that was utter dog shite. And then the second one was based on Rawhead Rex, which the story in Books of Blood is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
and
Rawhead.
gory and fun.
The film's just mad, though, isn't it? Just like a load of.
Yeah, apparently I've not seen the film. There's a 4K restoration out now, and apparently it's just a great way of looking at something pretty shit. But it's but anyway, Clive Barker saw these and he was like, "These guys don't know what they're doing. I'm going to direct it myself." He got some money.
Yeah.
I think it was made for $1 million. It was a British production, but then halfway through, Roger Corman's production company were like, "This is looking pretty good. We'll put this out, but it's too British. You need to make it American." So they had to pretend it's in America, even though it's very English. And also, go on.
There's loads of bits where it looks like it's in England.
Yeah, it all looks like it's in England to me.
Yeah, there's bits on like the docks and stuff. Was that like in England? It almost looked like that was Liverpool.
Well, I thought it was Liverpool mainly because Clive Barker's from Liverpool, but apparently it's all in London. But
there was some dubbing. Some dubbing was kind of some dubbing was like you wouldn't be able to tell really.
Yeah.
But dubbing was you would be able to tell really. You can tell.
You can tell.
I could tell.
Yeah, well, that was to make it more American, and if it worked or didn't, I don't know. I think it.
But kind of English isn't the wife? What's her name?
Julia. Yeah, Julia.
English.
Yeah. I mean, for years I just thought, oh, they're an American family who have moved to England. I just assumed that was the whole thing.
Because some guys are dubbed, like Frank is dubbed.
Yeah.
But the daughter isn't dubbed.
Yeah.
And neither is Larry, right?
I don't know. It
seems like Frank is dubbed.
Which says literally. So it says here, so many of the English actors, including Sean Chapman, Oliver Parker, and others, were dubbed by American actors. So Sean Chapman played Frank Cotton, so you can kind of tell he was dubbed. Larry, I don't think was dubbed. I think he was just an American guy. Oliver Parker, who did he play?
A couple of the guys helping him move in were like clearly, "All right, mate, all right, governor," but they overdubbed them with, "Hey, mate, hey, governor."
Yeah. Hello, governor. Yeah, it's
hey there, governor.
It's a weird one. I mean, so this film, it's 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, not as high as I was kind of assuming it would be. 7 out of 10 on IMDb, not as high as I thought it would be. Roger Ebert, when it came out, gave it half a star out of 4 stars, which he normally goes for. So like, it's not that like loved to most people, but I've always held it really high. I think it's one of my first horror movies that really sort of scared me. It's I don't know, I just always held it to high esteem.
Yeah. There's something about just the vibe this film gives off. It's always kind of creeped me out. Like, it just feels wrong, doesn't it? It just feels wrong. It just feels a bit dirty.
Yeah.
Filthy. Sexy, but sexy but painful. Obviously, that's what they're going for. I remember seeing it, like some of it, like, because I remember my dad had like the first 3 on video.
Yeah.
And so I remember like, seeing the covers of them and being like, ooh, what the hell's this?
Yeah.
I'd be freaked out. And I can't remember when the first time I saw Hellraiser was, but I can't have been that old. I remember seeing it and being very much like, this is new. Like, this is new, sort of terrifying. Because I think it was nowhere near one of the first horror films I'd seen, but there was something about it that it really got under my skin and did make me feel just like a bit uneasy. And the fact that I'd seen it, I carried it like a weight around with me. Like, oh, I've seen Hellraiser and I feel horrible and feel dirty if I have a shower. Got to pull the nails out of my face.
I know what exactly you mean. I think that's why I like Clive Barker's films. They always feel kind of, or the stories in general, they always feel kind of wrong in some way. They always feel like you shouldn't really be reading them, or like you shouldn't tell people you're reading that or watching that.
I know it probably sounds ridiculous, but as a man who's not of faith, like me, when you kind of think in my head, when I think what a place like hell could really be like, I do kind of think of things like from Hellraiser and the visuals and the
Yeah.
chains and stuff, because I know a lot of it's like quite traditional stuff in mainstream culture and films and books and that we're accustomed to seeing, but there is just something different about Hellraiser where it's gone
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's horrible, but here's the next step of it. Like here's a sexual angle to it as well. So
It's kind of like R-rated horror version of Labyrinth. Like, and instead of Pinhead, you've got David Bowie in tight
can you
pants.
imagine a horror version of Labyrinth though? It would be amazing.
Was a gives us your skin. Wait.
Is this David Bowie? Give me your skin.
Yeah, it's it's a weird one. I mean, so like this film, I can understand why people might not like it. I understand that it's kind of weird and doesn't make sense all the time, and it's melodramatic, and that's kind of like that's fine, but that's like the worst thing about it, but also the best thing about it. Those eccentricities that make you go, that's such a unique, strange film, and that's what makes it. That's why I personally like it. It's like seeing an '80s goth or something who's gone fully that way. To some people, they'd be like, "Oh, I don't understand why would you wear those clothes?" But to them, and like to some people, it's like, "Oh yeah, that I am like." This is exactly I am the one.
There's something very like claustrophobic about this film. I know it's because it like takes place mostly in one location.
Yeah.
It would work well as a play, wouldn't it? Like a stage play when you think about it. Like imagine has that happened?
Well, there's been an audio play. So there probably has been a stage play at some point. But the reason they chose this one to film first, Clive Barker, is because it was such a small production. Like one location that is it's going to be easier to film, a bit cheaper. Yeah. So I mean, how did you get on with it this time around?
Yeah,
You've seen it before, right? You've seen it many times, right?
I've seen it before. I haven't seen it for a while. I can't remember the last time when I saw it was, but it holds up. As far as I remember, I'm not too keen on the others. Like maybe I think I've only maybe seen the second and the third.
Yeah.
But as far as I remember, I'm not too keen on the others. But there's something about this one which is kind of just. I mean, it is creepy. It's creepy. The gore is good. The creature effects are good. They don't look ridiculous. I mean, they are ridiculous, but they don't look ridiculous. You don't look at them and see it through the eyes of like. You know, sometimes when you see a music video from the 80s, that's designed to look either a bit edgy, maybe a bit creepy, something like that, and you see it and you go, "What were they thinking?"
Yeah,
Jesus. Yeah. But this, for some reason, this still holds up. You've got like obviously the cenobites who are all very unique looking and creepy in their own way. One of them is the nemesis from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
No lips. But yeah, I think this film suffers a little bit from maybe a lack of those cenobites. I know you don't want to overcook it with how much you include them, but the fact they only really show up 2, maybe 3 times, and each time they're not given a lot to do. They kind of all just stand in a circle and say stuff. It would have been nice to see a bit more of them, but then I guess it's loyal to the book, isn't it? Although
I think they're even less in the book. They're like in the start and the end, I think, pretty much.
So also Pinhead's a woman in the book, right?
I don't know if he was a woman. I think maybe I don't know. Well, they're called the Order of the Gash, and I don't know if they ever mentioned this in the film. I don't think so.
Well,
but I mean, I think they just call him the Priest or something like that. Mr. Priest. He's never called Pinhead. He only got the name Pinhead from being on the set. Yeah, as a nickname put on the set. Yeah.
But then they included it in later Hellraiser films, right? They called him Pinhead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just caught on and they're like, yeah, okay, he's Pinhead. Why not?
All right, you bloody Pinhead. I am the priest of the Order of the Gash.
Nah, you're Pinhead, mate. Pinhead. Pinhead.
Dunk him. Give him a wedgie.
Yeah. Hanging clothes up his face.
I would like to see cenobites in Cenobites have to adjust to normal life. They get trapped on Earth or something. Cenobites got to get a job down Asda.
Yeah, mate, that'd be a great little sketch.
Have you got to wear the uniform? Well, of course not. I wear this. I wear the sleeve.
Where's the uniform? That's who his boss is. It's just some football fan.
Pinhead's a wanker. Pinhead's a wanker. Well, I do indulge in the masturbatory occasionally, but don't call me that.
Wanker.
And they slap him on the back of the head, but then they go, fucking hell. They call him Pinhead for a reason.
Yeah, and then they put like pencil erasers all over his face to stop him from like pinning anyone.
Just wrap his head in bubble wrap.
Yeah. So who we got in the cast? We got Andrew Robinson playing Larry Cotton, who's the dad of the family. So that's what I was going to say before I do this. They're not the Pinheads, the Pinhead family. They're not in this much at all. And I was like, it's not really about them, is it? It's more Frank Cotton's story about him trying to escape hell.
Yeah, I don't know how it is his story, but at the same time, he's a bastard, isn't he?
But it's not. I was thinking it's not like Kirsty's story. 'Cause she's not even in like the film for like 50% of it.
It's almost like she's putting it as a sort of final girl, as a foil to Frank. It was essentially like, even though he's got the Cenobites are the antagonists, but also they're kind of like.
Also, Julie, this is why I think where the soap opera thing comes in, because it's not so much like a single journey. It's like different characters and different situations sort of culminating in a single.
So imagine it's a 6-part miniseries with all that happening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, obviously the Cenobites are the antagonists, but you're kind of like rooting for them to.
Go on, Pinhead.
Pinhead, fuck that, mate.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna take that. You're gonna take that.
Yeah.
He's making a mug of you.
Yeah. I'd like to see Conor McGregor play Pinhead in the remake. You will Conor McGregor.
Just walking in, doing that walk. That walk he does.
Flappy arm walk. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, just knocking people out.
Who the fuck is this guy? I
can't do it. Yeah. I regret my decision of trying to do it.
Sometimes right now, no, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
who else we got? Yeah. Claire Higgins is Julia Cotton. Julia plays the wife of the Larry, and she's kind of not an honest wife. She likes to sleep around, I guess, and she likes to hammer people.
Yeah, she's got quite a vast collection of various trousers, earrings. Probably got loads of hairspray. Her hair's always looking like a painting. Hammer as well.
I feel like the hammer would be the perfect weapon against Pinhead. Just hammer all those nails in.
He's just a bloody egghead.
Yeah.
He needs to result in the old Pinhead.
He needs what?
He needs to brush his teeth. Every time I look at his teeth, I go, "Ooh, bloody hell, mate! Tartar."
Tartar, yeah. There's the in the sequel. There's the dentist guy. Oh, he's a doctor, but he kind of looks like a dentist, and he has drill hands or something.
Oh, is he a Cenobite? Is he?
Yeah, the
Cenobites are there.
Well, there's these 4, and then like they make a 5th one in the second film, and then there's loads of them in the 3rd one. There's like a DJ.
What are their names? A DJ one?
Yeah, I guess there's like a vinyl record stuck in his head, and he uses them as weapons.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I want to see that now. So what are we calling these Cenobites? So we've got Pinhead.
Doug Bradley plays lead Cenobite. Cinnabon. Tasty. Cinnamon bite.
What about
Cenobites? Cenobites sounds like a cereal. Cinnamon bites.
Cenobites now with less sugar.
Yeah.
There's a vagina neck one.
Yeah. She plays female Cenobite. And they had a nickname Deep Throat, or that's what she was actually called, but they were like, nah, it's too. You can't just call it Deep Throat.
She had a vagina neck.
Yeah.
Then there's one who looks like he looks like someone. This one, the fat one with like sunglasses on.
Butterball, he's called, played by Simon Bamford.
Butterball is like the name of, like when you played like side-scrolling beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage. There's always a fat character, and they call him Butterball or Fat Bastard.
Yeah. Well, there's a boxer called Butterbean who looks a lot like this guy.
You knocked out Johnny Knoxville in the Jackass film.
Yeah. And then the other one who looks like Nemesis is called it's credited as Chattering Cenobite, but I think he's got a nickname amongst the fans. It's just called Chatterer or something.
I'm going to call him, right? I don't know. Do you want to call? I'll call him Nemesis from now on.
All right.
His new name.
Nemesis. We need a more politically correct way to refer to Butterball. Butter challenged.
Butter. Let's just call him Butterbean, because we're not talking about his weight. We're talking about how much he resembles that wonderful box.
A butterbean. Oh right, no, I thought you meant a butterbean.
Nemesis.
Yeah.
Clunge neck.
Again, more PC. Femur, deep throat, no. Clunge neck, I don't think so. She's got like sort of 80s pop Annie Lennox sort of thing going on.
Yeah, Shakespeare's sister. Annie Lennox, we can call her. Let's call her Annie Lennox.
Cool. All right. And Pinhead.
Just call it Pinhead, because otherwise
it works. Yeah.
Bloody works.
Yeah. There's also another guy who plays the skinless Frank, who's the Frank the Monster.
I kind of feel this because the whole time this Frank character was skinless, or in his form where he was kind of getting his skin and muscle and stuff. It didn't look like the same guy, like even slightly.
Well, he's without skin, isn't he? He looks different.
I know.
There's something different about you today.
In
You did your hair different.
In terms of the bone structure, and they could have used the same actor, because then it would have been more believable. Instead, they got some guy who looked like bloody Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Well, so they got the skinniest guy they could find. What's that face then?
Help me, Julia.
Yeah, well, they got the skinniest guy they could find to do it.
Do we know anything about the creature effects? Were they done by anybody who'd worked on something before? Because they're pretty good,
Well, I don't think they are pretty good. I don't think it wasn't a Rob Bottin or what's that other guy? There's only two of them. The other guy. It wasn't the other guy. It was
not the other bloke, mate.
It was I think it was a team of 12 people, which apparently is not a big team for a movie like this, and the amount of effects. I mean, there's like rotoscoping with the electric flashes on the box and all the post effects and stuff, and there's also like stop motion dragons and and there's like the gooey flies sort of stuff where there's the bodies coming back together. There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of gooey stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's like The Thing, where things are kind of like are kind of like moving, taking form, taking shape. But yeah, I thought that stuff was good.
Yeah. So who else? I know we have mentioned. Yeah, we've got them all in. Yep, they're all there. So the story starts with Frank
Cotton in Morocco buying a puzzle box from a dealer, and he's very sweaty.
Yeah, he's always sweaty in this film. That guy.
He's always sweaty, and so obviously what we're made to find out about Frank Cotton is that he's at it with Earth's wonderful delights.
Yeah.
And he's looking for something a bit different, So he's done it all.
Yeah.
He's at it up. He's had the trombone in.
Has he tried dulce de leche though, making it yourself with the
That's
milk?
True. We should say to him, you've tried all of Earth's lovely delights. You've had other bum, all that stuff. But have you tried dulce de leche? What?
Have you tried that new Ben and Jerry's fish food? Ben and Jerry's fish food. PH.
To be fair, this was 1987, so maybe he didn't have access to such delicious ice cream. Because otherwise, he would have been like,
he's done it too soon. Hang about for another 10 years, and you'll have the internet. You'll have Dragon Ball Z,
Dragon
Toonami.
Ball Z, Earth's Wonderful Delights. I had this moment. You must have this moment where you eat something and you literally just like you. I don't know who you're praising, God on some level or something. But you go, I'm so glad. I'm so glad I'm alive and I'm enjoying this moment of this lovely, delicious profiterole I had.
Really, profiterole does it?
That's what sauce, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
That's what keeps you from raising hell.
It's usually some sort of dessert. So I also had some creme brulee flavored ice cream.
Mate, creme brulee, that's a flavour. That is a flavour.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was literally like, someone was talking to me while I was eating it, and I was like, I was not listening. They could talk, they'd been spilling their heart out to me, and I'd have been like,
yeah.
So Frank Cotton, you don't need a box to somehow get your kicks from demons tearing you apart. What you need is to get yourself on the old dulce de leche or creme brulee flavoured ice.
Just to get my foods, I'm a more savoury sort of thing. I mean, it's either lasagna with like so much cheese baked onto the top that you put the cheese in your mouth and it's difficult to chew because it's so much cheese. There's a flavour there that I think is heavenly, and also a great burger. Like burgers are fantastic anyway, but if you get like a special, it's like £12. You spend £12 on a burger, and it's good. Something amazing about that. Something heavenly.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
There we go. I like it how neither of us have talked about anything sexual or anything.
Just food.
We've gone.
Yeah, just like fast food.
Oh, that's that lovely bit of dinner. That lovely bit of dinner I had. That lovely bit of dinner.
Yeah. So Christmas dinner as well is good.
The idiot. He looks like the kind of guy who like eats bloody microwave meals and pot noodle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's why he's not getting it, because he's just going, oh, I'll just eat this and then I'll get on with all the dirty, sexy stuff I'm doing. No, just take some more time, find some more nice things to eat, and you won't have to worry about finding pleasure elsewhere. You'll be sorted for life.
But he doesn't do that. So he takes his puzzle box. It's like an analog Game Boy, and he's sort of playing it. And he's in in the attic, and
he doesn't get any from the dealer either, does he? The dealer doesn't say this is how you use it. He just goes, have this box. I'm sure he paid quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like at least 200 quid. And who knows what you're getting with 200 quid? But he doesn't even seem to. The box is weird because you sort of have to massage it more than solve it. You sort of just have to rub your thumbs along it and tickle it in the right ways, and then it sort of and it engorges in some places, erupts in other places. Twists.
And it goes, okay, Frank, I'm over now.
It does, yeah. And then the sparks of light happen. The walls. This is one of my favourite things about Hellraiser. Is it doesn't matter where you are. If you open the box, you sort of bridge, you uncover a world that's sort of hiding behind the walls, and the lights sort of show, and then the cenobites just there. All right, Frank, and
all right, Frank.
It doesn't even tell you at this point. They just sort of say, it just cuts, and then we see Frank in pieces on the floor, and then they press the box, they zap it, they reverse it all up, and then it's quite well done. I mean, say this is Clive Barker's first film. I think the pacing of a lot of this is really well done. They zap it all up into the box, and he goes back in, and then like magic, Larry and Julia are moving in. They're unlocking the door into their new house.
Obviously, there is a good bit where we see one of the cenobites just picking up pieces of Frank and kind of lays his face on the
like a jigsaw
floor.
puzzle. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. But yeah, the room's restored to normal essentially, and Frank's not there, and people are moving in. So his brother Larry is moving in with his wife Julia, and they've got a bit of a difficult relationship, right? She's kind of she seems like a hard work, doesn't she, old Julia? Bless her.
Yeah.
Seems like nothing's enough for her, all right? Nothing's enough for her. And then we kind of get a flashback, which is... So, is this flashback caused by anything? Does she not see her? So they kind of look at
photos or something. They see that Frank was been living in the attic.
Yeah. Are we explained? Do we understand where Frank is supposed to be, or where they think he's supposed to be?
Yeah, so Larry says he's been here, he's probably gone, he's probably arrested somewhere, he's always off trying the delights of Earth.
He's always looking for earthly delights.
Yeah.
So yeah, so obviously there's a kitchen full of maggots, rotten food, and all that crap. They find like a dirty, horrible little bed that he's been living in. You know what I mean? Again, if he had a really nice bed, some feather pillows, and just like a really nice place to kip.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, if you get the right bed, you lie down on it. That's heavenly.
That's heavenly.
Yeah.
Don't need. You don't need these cenobites. You need a good bed,
and a massage,
a lovely bit
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe a massage.
Nice cup of tea and a cheese sandwich.
Or a Hangout podcast in your ears.
Yeah.
Just lie back and enjoy. But yeah, he's mugged himself off there. So yeah, then obviously Julia has a flashback to when she had an affair with Frank.
Yeah.
He turned up at their gaff, soaking wet, and it was like
he's always wet. He's sweaty. He's rainy. He's always sopping wet. That's
Never
what they
dry.
say about Frank. Classic Frank.
Classic Frank. So he like comes in and he like seduces her. Is it supposed to be like after the wedding, before the wedding?
This is shortly after their wedding. They've been married.
So where's Larry at the moment then?
No. So when they had sex was maybe in their old house or somewhere else. I don't know, 5 years prior. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But I was saying, where's Larry at the time?
He's I don't know, something else. I think he might be on the phone with Kirsty or something. Kirsty, and he's like, "We're having a dinner party. You should come and move in." And she's like, "I don't want to move in because Julie's there. I don't like Julia."
Oh yeah.
She doesn't say it out in the open, but we get that impression.
I meant, where was Larry when Frank was doing it with
noshing her off? Well, it could be anywhere. At work, at the office.
Because they have sex on the wedding dress, don't they?
Yeah, maybe.
Which I think happened as well
on the morning of the wedding. I don't know.
Yeah, Jesus.
Wept.
Oh, you look wonderful in the wedding dress, but there's a big stain. No.
Looks sweaty.
There's a big sweat on the back. Well, I was sat on it.
I know someone who sweats.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did Frank go to the wedding as well? That's what I want to know.
No, I think he got his. Well, it's weird because it wasn't just a one time, was it? Because they did it that time, and then they obviously were doing it more, and then eventually Frank was like, "I'm out of here, sister. I've got other earthly delights to find and nosh off."
He ticked it off. He
ticked off.
Shag brother's wife. Tick.
Yeah.
That was top of the list.
So
yes.
There's I really like the way this is sort of. I think Clive Barker did a great job here because he's sort of building up the drama where she's rethinking about the sex, and they're getting closer and closer to the climax, and then the music's getting swelling up, and at the same time, while she's getting nailed, this is amazing that Clive Barker figured this out. She's getting nailed, and metaphorically she's getting nailed, and Larry's hand is about to also get nailed, and it's the most horrific. It's building up to this as she, I'm being nailed, and then Frank cuts his hand. He goes, I'm being nailed. Yeah.
It's one moment where I was a bit like, do I want to see this? Do I want to see this? It was taking ages, and there's a horrible, great big nail hanging out of the banister.
How did they do this? Because I understand, like, maybe they put some blood on the nail before, and it sort of wipes on his hand. But it looks really good. I mean, I couldn't see the blood there before, and there's quite a lot of it that came off.
Well, I don't know whether it's a makeup effect or what, but it looked pretty good, looked pretty horrible. And he overreacts, doesn't he? I mean, it looked horrible, but he overreacts. Yay, they have a day! He hates blood, apparently, so he's like, fucking Julia! So he goes upstairs into the attic, obviously where Frank vanished.
Yeah.
And bleeding everywhere.
I'd be the same. I hate blood. It makes me just really faint.
Yeah, well, he's making it worse for himself. I mean, he's bleeding a lot, but obviously Julia helps him. They leave the attic, but then the blood sort of like soaks into the floorboards.
Well, you hear this like as the floor sort of drinks it all up. Yeah.
and it basically brings Frank back from. I want to say back from the dead, but is it bringing him just back from hell or back from whatever dimension he's in?
Yeah, I think the idea is it's bringing him back from hell, or back from death, or uh, from the other side. But yeah, this bit has always stayed with me. It's still freaky to see. His heart starts
Yeah,
pumping, and then it makes a spine. You get these two nobular bits that slot into the brain stem, and
yeah,
then
yeah. The brain bit was good. Nobular bits.
yeah, and
I
he
like the
sort of
knob.
yeah, they're good. Yeah, they look like little ticklers, and then like the arm bones like shoot out of the ground, and it's a really well put together, gruesome. And the music, I've got to say, I haven't mentioned the music so far. The music's kind of
Yeah.
great.
So it's Christopher Young, isn't it? I recognize him.
Yeah,
Like I think he's pretty big in the. He's pretty big in the game at the moment. I've definitely heard a few of his soundtracks, if I remember right. Because I recognise the name. That makes me sound completely idiotic, not knowing any of them. But
yeah.
yeah, the soundtrack's ace. Like it was really, it's like epic, but it's got that sort of
It's almost got like a Tim Burton-y vibe, but like a more gothic sort of.
yeah, it's very gothic. It's almost there's a bit of a it's very obviously it's very orchestral, but it was a bit something very hopeless about it. Well, oh bloody hell,
Yeah,
boy, coming back from the dead.
it reminds me of the music from Ghostbusters when it reveals Zool and
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly
yeah,
what you mean. Yeah, that's proper epic. I mean, epic and horrific at the same time.
horrific. Yeah, horrific.
So yeah,
Uh,
so Julia like discovers Frank pretty quickly, doesn't she? He's kind of like
what does she
half
do? She
restored.
walks in and just sees him. I can't remember how she finds him now. Uh,
Yeah,
she was like, "I was just thinking about you." And now look at
yeah,
you.
yeah. I'm not sure what happens. I think she maybe hears something and
Yeah,
goes in. He's sort of there, all juicy and fudged up.
classic Frank.
That down. Initially, she's like, "Who the hell are you?" And then when she says, "I'm Frank," she's a bit like, "Oh,
Oh,
oh, bloody hell!"
what happened?
And he doesn't like explain what's going down initially, does he?
Yeah,
Not like I've been here doing
yeah,
this and that. Kind of just like, look at the stare to me.
yeah. He said, "I need blood." I think will you get me blood? And she's like, "Nah, I've got cream. I can get some paper tissues."
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's helpless. There's nothing you could really do to him.
If you
Is there?
see him in that state, you're like, "Oh, you've done it, mate. There's no coming back from that." He's like, "There is coming back from that, from
There
this."
is going back. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have a roll around in some sand. It's gonna get everywhere.
um,
But yeah, so she's still like, so even though he's in that state, she's still obviously pretty into him,
yeah,
and he obviously says, "I need you to harvest blood for me, and then I can like be fully restored, and then we can run away together. We can be together." And she's like, "Yeah, all right."
can't she just donate some blood? Like, I mean, like, so hook up a thing, get a couple of biscuits and a cup of tea, and then you sort of, do you know what I mean? Donate blood, and then he could have it
Yeah.
right into his mouth. And
Maybe it depends how much he's drinking, because obviously
yeah, but you
some of the
regenerate it. Don't you? So he has a go. She's like, I need to go have a lasagna. I'll be back in a
you
minute.
regenerate it, don't you? Yeah, you do, but like, yeah, this. Are you saying it's a plot hole? You saying she should just?
Or it means he just needs to take lives. Like he needs to absorb
Yeah, yeah.
like the life force or whatever.
And obviously, we're made to understand quite a lot about Julie at this stage, that she's willing to do that based on pretty much nothing, based on a whim and a prayer from this dude
Which she
who's
gets
going.
really throughout the story. She gets more and more into the actual killing side of it, doesn't she? I think she's
It's almost
really
like role play for her, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
maybe that sexy, maybe the sexy sadomasochism thing comes into it a bit more, is that she can do it so easily because it's a bit of
It's her
it's a bit
kink.
of dirty role play.
It's her kink, yeah, to do the
I
wrong
mean,
thing.
there's some
Yeah,
classic ones there. Nurse, schoolgirl of age, school, schoolgirl, and then there's dirty woman at bar picks you up, takes you up to an horrible act to have sex on the floor.
yeah,
That's the third one. Third one. Yeah, so she obviously starts picking up men, just lonely blokes in what she's like a hotel bar or something.
Yeah, she just goes. Her voice is breaking. She goes out and she picks up men,
Yeah,
and then she's
picks
like,
up
"I'm going
some
to put you down because you're too heavy." And then she picks up a lighter one. She goes, "Come on, grab your
come on
coat.
then.
You pulled."
So she pretty much does take men back to her house, takes them into the attic, and they're like, "Where? What? This ain't the bedroom." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I prefer to do it on the floor." And you look down at the floor, and it's just like,
Yeah, I prefer to do it in the bedroom. Thanks.
splintered wood. What was that?
I was like, yeah, I prefer to do it in the
Like,
bedroom. Thanks. Yeah.
I don't mind I like doing it on the floor, and I'd be like, "Oh, what? You'd have splinters all in your Aris."
Yeah. And your Toyota Yaris.
So yeah, she like, I first of all I wasn't sure why does she have to kill him? Why can't she just lure him in and then go, Frank, do your business?
I think he's too weak at first because he gets a bit stronger as time goes on, but he's a frail husk of a man, and she like it doesn't take just one hammer. Like it takes a good couple of whacks before the guy drops.
I mean, you'd be well annoyed if someone's hammered you in the head, wouldn't you? You'd be like, what the f*** are you doing?
Yeah, I wouldn't like it.
So she murders them. Frank like consumes their blood, and his body starts regenerating. But then Julia's like getting rid of the bodies as well, isn't she? Like she carries one of them at one point. Carries one of them like they're just a little chihuahua because she just picks them up and what does she do with the bodies?
I don't know, but there's one at the end of the film. Like there's one in the cupboard, like a classic. Put the body in the cupboard.
You can't just put bodies in the cupboard though. I mean, they're gonna stink.
Yeah. Well,
Julia's
it's weird.
She seems like the kind of woman though who's like not really ever had the need for anything in her life, and she's kind of always had people around her going, "Oh, Clip, I'll do your washing up.
Yeah.
I'll chuck some laundry on for you." Now she's like, "I've got a dead body. What should I do? What do I even do with this? Just sling it out the back door. Someone to sort it. The council. The council comes.
Well, the council say if you got any, big objects, give them a call. They'll sort it out. Like,
exactly.
I mean, you pay like £50 extra, but yeah, it's fine.
I've got 3 dead bodies here.
Which bin does the brown bin? Oh, right, okay.
He goes, where does the dead body go? It goes in brown bin. Oh, actually, it's been sucked of blood, so it goes in the blue bin.
Yeah, it's bin day tomorrow, and all, so that'll be all right. It was bin day the next day, so the smell was gone.
They purposely make it so that they do it just before bin day as well.
Yeah.
They got a plan like this.
Clever.
Yeah, so after his body starts regenerating and he becomes more meaty.
Yeah.
Meaty, and he's sopping wet constantly, isn't he?
Classic Frank,
sopping wet. He explains to Julia like what happened. He said he's exhausted all sensory experiences. What a lie.
And she's like, "What? Have you tried Dove Celeste?" She listened. Have you tried a massage?
Have you heard the new Ed Sheeran album? Quality. So he sorted out this puzzle box, promised it would be a portal to a realm of carnal pleasures. It almost said anal. When solved,
as well. Yeah.
The cenobites came to him to the extreme. I'll be like, why are you complaining then? Right? Fair enough. You might have been mugged off and you've ended up in hell or wherever.
Yeah.
But you sorted it out, so deal with it, all right? These poor, innocent blokes.
The thing about so he in the film it seems to be more about like they take you to extreme pain so that the pleasures are so much sweeter. That's kind of the gist. But in the book, it seems more like the Cenobites are from some other sort of such a distant, removed place from our own thinking that to them, pain is a form of pleasure. Like mutilation is a form of pleasure, and they kind of feel like they're giving Frank what he wants. Right? Say again.
For some people, it is,
Yeah,
some like to get trod on by women in really horrible stilettos
on purpose.
On the balls. Like, can you imagine anything worse? Just imagine that particular moment, right? That's horrific, isn't it? Somebody out there likes it.
Yeah.
You're saying Cenobites are so far removed, but human beings are messed up.
Yeah.
People like getting stood on.
Film. That's
trod.
Bellraiser.
People like to put things in their knob. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So what? So she starts killing loads of people. Frank is getting meatier and meatier. Kirsty sees Julia taking a guy into the house. She follows him in.
Like going. She's going round to to hang out with Julia or just chat to her and maybe
to sort of make friends. Yeah.
And sort of like stumbles in halfway through a murder, pretty much.
Yeah.
A juicy body comes out. Frank he's a bit more meaty.
Still gooey, but there's more.
Still gooey.
More muscles on the bone. Yeah.
So he attacks her with a classic line, "Come to daddy."
Yeah.
Which I kind of think, Frank, so not only are you a horrible, dirty adulterer and, seeking the earthly pleasures, you're also a bit rapey and...
He's a dirty uncle. Dirty Uncle Frank.
Dirty, horrible uncle.
Yeah.
So, Kirsty throws the puzzle box out the window and escapes. Pretty much escapes, but then she collapses not long after.
Yeah, okay, so she collapses, but she steals the puzzle box.
She's got the puzzle.
She's got the puzzle box. Yeah. She stumbles, and she wakes up in hospital. There's a really weird doctor that's like, "Well, you ain't going anywhere, Missy. You were She says, "I need to call my dad. It's really important." And he's like, "No, first things first. Get in bed."
I was so confused by this doctor that I thought he was like a dream. He was like a dream sequence because he was being so weird. But then the puzzle box is still there.
I think he's bored. Yes, because they lock her in. She's there for hours, so she's like, "What else am I going to do?"
I've got no TV.
No TV.
I've got nothing to read. All I've got is these four walls. I might as well just solve the puzzle box.
Might as well do it. She does it, and we get a few sparks. She's done it within seconds. She's really good at it. She's like this is in the background information, but this is in the book. She's a Rubik's Cube champion, so she can do it in seconds. What? Yeah, exactly. With one hand.
And so behind her back.
And not even her own hand. Someone else's hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. So she does it, and then she opens up a door in the wall that wasn't there before. This is a cool little moment that really terrified me as a kid, but it's kind of silly now.
Talking of labyrinth, this is a very labyrinth moment where narrow sort of corridors and something chasing her,
like a little goblin scorpion thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was again some pretty good monster effects, right?
It's alright. I mean, it's definitely got the plastic look to it now, but it still holds up quite well. It's like a weird scorpion thing that sort of crawls across the walls.
Got a weird tail and some face and arms. It's pretty creepy, yeah. So she runs from that, escapes, and then the cenobites turn up and basically, surround her, start telling her that doesn't Pinhead say something along the lines of, "We've been perceived as both angels and demons, but we're just explorers."
Just explorers. Yeah.
Explorers, I mean, we cut all the sex crimes we've been doing. We're just explorers. That's it.
Yeah, it'd be good if they sounded like the Beatles. Hello, Kirsty.
Hello, Kirsty. I'm Ringo.
I'm Ringo. This is John.
This is John. Chattering teeth.
George.
There's Paul over there with his vagina neck. La, na, 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 from the vagina neck.
Hey, Kirsty.
The thing is, there's an old sketch of that as well. We've just
we
do the Cenobite.
Someone solves the puzzle box, and the Beatles turn up. Hello, Kirsty.
Hello, Kirsty.
We've come to tear your soul apart.
You sound like.
You
sound like.
Oh. Hello, Catherine. I was trying to think of the the vultures in the Jungle Book.
With a little haircut.
Yeah.
That's weird. I suppose it was of its time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they sort of say to Kirsty that they're basically you belong to us now, pretty much. But she basically grasses Frank up, says Frank escaped from you. He's in our attic. He's all wet and mangled, and I can lead you to him, basically.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, okay, fine, doing deals. And then there's a good line here when he says, "No tears." But I don't like to see people cry. What does he say? No tears. It's a waste of good suffering.
The waste of good suffering.
Yeah.
And his teeth were all mangled, and I think,
Yeah.
brush your teeth, mate.
Brush your teeth, mate. Yeah. I wish Kirsty was like a English school child, and she was like, "Oh, you dropped your gay card, mate." Just like saying stuff like that. And then Pinhead looks down and she goes, "Ah, you looked," and then she runs away.
He looked, and you got something on the back of your shoe as well. What? Hello, sailor. Classic.
Classic Kirsty.
Classic banter.
So she runs away to the house. Also, Larry's just returned to the house. We don't get to see what happens to Larry, but it can't be that good for him because the next time we see him,
so a scene we did kind of miss was a moment where Frank is like trying to kill Larry while Larry is trying to have sex with Julia, he's kind of creeping up behind him, and Julia's obviously like, no, obviously saying no to Frank.
Yeah,
doesn't want Frank to kill him, but Larry takes it as she's basically mugging him off.
Yeah,
cop blocking him, and he goes, "Well, I don't understand you anymore. I don't understand you." Yeah,
I don't think Larry deserved to get flayed alive. I don't know if he got flayed alive, but
no. So Larry gets killed off screen, right?
Yeah, because the next time we see Larry, he's not Larry. He's Frank wearing Larry's skin,
no.
Which I don't think it
Frank's
works.
Killed Larry, stole the skin.
Yeah.
And then Julia shows Kirsty like the flayed corpse, doesn't she? Basically,
It says that's Frank.
It's Frank.
Frank is dead.
That's
There he
Frank.
is, steaming.
Automatically, I think, right, my dad, has he got it in him to not just kill someone, but to flay their corpse? Because when you kill someone, you think...
But she's already seen Frank as a flayed corpse man. So exactly. I suppose it looks kind of like him. But while she's in there, the cenobites turn up. And they're like, "Hello, you said you'd be here this time."
Yeah, we were supposed to be here. We met you.
Sorry, but yeah.
They demand to know like who did it, essentially.
Chatter's got a casserole.
Yeah. I brought you a housewarming gift.
Yeah, some vol au vents.
Some vol au vents. Some vol au vents. Chattering Cenobite made them, but he can't eat them without making a mess.
Crumbs
everywhere. I wasn't letting do it not in my house, not with the new carpets.
Yeah.
So, what happens here?
Okay, so Kirsty runs away, but Julia grabs her, goes no, and they start wrestling, and then Frank, as Larry, goes to stab Kirsty with his flick knife, but stabs Julia instead. And then he sucks her flesh out, he absorbs her, she sort of melts into his fingers.
It almost seems like he wanted to do it though, like he stabs her, but he's not like, what? He kind of just goes,
well, he says like, no hard feelings. And by that I think he means because she turns all squidgy. No hard feelings, squidgy.
No hard feelings because you're proper soft. And then Frank Larry, or Larry Frank, chases Kirsty to the attic. But basically the Cenobites want him to confess.
I don't think he does confess, though.
I don't think he does confess, no.
Maybe he does confess that he is Frank. Because I think he said something like, "It's me, Frank." And then they're like, Cenobites like, "Oh, it is Frank."
It is Frank, yeah. Now you've done it. So basically they chain the living shit out of him. He gets pulled apart by these chains. His face is all coming off. Very, very gory. And then he basically gets pulled so hard by the chains that he explodes.
He gets pulled off and he explodes. The final pleasure. Yeah.
And then
he gets the Jesus wept line as well, where he says, "Jesus wept."
Jesus wept. His lips get pulled off his face.
Yeah.
So then Kirsty gets the puzzle box from Julia's hands, and pretty much banishes the Cenobites pretty easily by solving the box.
Like I said, she's a Rubik's Cube champione.
Exactly, but how would you know that just closing various bits on the box just gets rid of... So she gets rid of them one by one, basically.
And she even knows how to open the box in a certain way that opens that door to the scorpion one. Or she knows how to close it anyway. She knows the box too well now. It's a bit ludicrous. But the escape... Go on.
one thing we didn't mention is that there's like a vagrant dude or like a homeless dude who
Yeah.
Kirsty sees several times throughout the film. She sees him in a shop. She sees him
Oh,
she
I know
sees
you.
him
Yeah.
eating some bloody locust. And eating locusts or something like in the pet shop she works in.
Yeah.
So obviously, we understand that this is something to do with the stuff as well. And at the end, when she escapes the house, her boyfriend turns up. They go out to some wilderness and throw the box on a fire. They throw the fox on a fire, sorry. But I think thinking the box is just metal. It's just going to go really hot, isn't it?
I don't know. Who knows what maybe
It's
it's
going to melt
wood.
into
I don't
bits.
know.
And that vagrant slash homeless dude turns up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's the guy who made the box. There's someone called Le Marchand. I don't know how it's pronounced. Le Marchand. Le Marchand. Um,
Lamarchin.
Le Marchand. I don't know if he's the guy who made the box, who is the same guy who sold it him in the first place.
Yeah. He's possibly some sort of shape-shifting winged beast. I don't know if do we see any more of that in the other films?
I don't think so. Well, I've already seen the first three, but no, I don't think so. It sounds like a dragon, skeleton dragon.
Yeah, it turns into some weird sort of like bony dragon and flies off into the night.
Yeah.
You get a nice final shot of the box in the hands of the same merchant who's selling it to someone else now.
Yeah.
Who may be sweaty, may not be sweaty.
Only sell to sweaty people. So that's the end of the film. I've got some trivia. It's a little bit different. So all the answers in this trivia round end with Hellraiser. Okay. So for example, a question could be: man finds puzzle box to hell. The answer is Hellraiser. Okay.
Yep.
So number one, little boy who lives in the closet comes out. He's a wizard and he goes to wizard school. The answer would be Spellraiser.
Spellraiser. Okay, I got you.
Okay, good. He's with it. Okay. Number two. Japanese girl falls down a well and haunts people from a videotape. This might be too hard. I don't know.
Samara Ring.
What did she come out of? Wellraiser. There you go. Yeah. Number three. Documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger while he trains by lifting weights.
Oh Jesus! You asked me this earlier as well, didn't you?
I need to make sure you'd seen it. Or close. Barbell Raiser.
Oh, Swell Razor. That would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Number four. Sam Rockwell is a clone of a clone of a clone, and he's on the moon.
Well, that's a hard one, that is.
Rockwell Razor.
Rockwell Razor. Because you say the answer in the question, it's confusing me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't thought about that much. So number five, Jack Nicholson, caretaker of the Overlook Hotel, tries to kill his family.
Give me a clue.
Jack Nicholson, caretaker of the Overlook Hotel, tries to kill his family.
Oh, Jesus, what can I think? Jack. God, tell me.
Hotel Raiser.
Oh, I was trying to think of Jack's name.
I've got a bonus
Jack
one.
Torrance.
I've got a bonus episode. Bonus question. A perfumer in the 18th century who is trying to capture the elusive aroma by killing women.
Smell Razor.
Yeah.
Bloody quality.
Yeah. Also, some actual trivia to finish off because that was just nonsense. What was the name of the Clive Barker's original novella that the film was based on?
The Hellbound Heart.
Yes. And how many hours did it take to make up Doug Bradley to be Pinhead?
12.
Close. If you did it over 2 days, yeah, you're correct. It was 6 hours per day.
All right.
So
that's what it meant.
That's what you meant. Yeah. Also, the last one. What is the name of the configuration of the box that opens up the doorway to hell? It's got a very special name.
The name of the configuration?
Yeah.
Has it got the word gash in it?
No.
The gash mash. The the Twizzly Twizzler, the the mad box. I don't know.
The lament configuration. That's what they call it when they. I don't really go into it too much in the first one, or maybe even the second one. No, they did. They think they talk about it in the second one. Yeah.
Right.
So, you get to review the film. I know what your review is going to be because I follow you on letterboxd.com.
Oh yeah, Jesus!
I saw your thing
Do you
pop
reckon
up.
I should stop doing? I should stop review. I should stop doing that, shouldn't I?
It's up to you. It's up to you, man.
Before we talk, I didn't put a review on there. I just put my star rating.
Yeah.
I need to sort of correspond what my star ratings and my horror hangout A to F ratings are going to be, because I don't think they're exclusive. But yeah, I think this film holds up really well. It's creepy. It's not aged that badly in 1987. It's still a great story, great special effect. And that's kind of made me want to go and watch some of the others, even though they're not as good. So I'll give this film a B plus.
A B plus, like
A B plus.
Okay, all right.
That's right.
That's good. I thought you were going to go a little bit lower than that. Mate, I would challenge anyone to think of another horror film that is like this, like that is such a sort of mashup of stuff and has sort of the scenes of really grisly horror bits and like tense bits where people are getting nailed metaphorically.
I'll tell you what, it reminded me a little bit. Sorry to interrupt your fun review. It reminded me a little bit of, obviously it came afterwards, but Event Horizon.
Yeah, well, I think they took from this. They did like Hellraiser in space, that isn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any. I think this film kind of came out of nowhere. Clive Barker's sort of sadomasochistic horror came out of nowhere. I think it's like even like today, I don't think the films quite do what he was doing. The sort of it feels very thespian, very sort of like I won't say Shakespearean, but it feels like it's not anything like real life, but that's fine because it's a big over. I think the best way to describe it is a soap opera, and I really like it for that. I'm going to give it an A minus, just because it's great. It should be up there. It should be in the top 50 horror movies of all time. I think
it should definitely be in the top 50 horror films of all time. Yeah, and it could take the place of a lot of films that we saw on various lists. But yeah, is it in the? So obviously we've been dabbling with the IGN top 100.
I don't think it is. No, so it's not even in the top 100. It's. I think maybe it got to the point with Clive Barker stuff, and people just got a bit tired of it, or a bit like it was oversaturated. And I think this film kind of dropped off for a long time. But if you hold this up against any of the best horror movies from the 80s, I think it holds up. Like,
it's one of those films where I think when it has more sequels, it kind of affects the legacy of like the original.
Yeah.
So, for example, a film like, say, Saw, where I think if Saw was a film on its own and we didn't get any more sequels and it was that, it would be held up in a much higher regard than perhaps it is now. And the whole franchise is kind of thought of as same with things like Paranormal Activity, which I don't think is great, but at the same time, I think the more sequels there have been, the more
it like dilutes the power of the original one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People go, "Oh, Paranormal Activity! Oh my god!"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a bit like one of those. Whereas if it was just that we only got one film and that was ever it, it was like, "Wow, that film was great."
Yeah. Yeah, it's annoying. I mean, the sequel is. People say, "Oh, watch the first two; they're the best ones," but I don't think the sequel even holds up much against this one. You'll see what I mean when you watch it. It's got a lot of great horror moments in it, but it's just not got the same melodrama that this one has. It loses some of it.
The human drama.
What I would say, if people like Hellraiser or Hellbound Heart and want more similar, I mean, Books of Blood, those short stories by Clive Barker are amazing, and they very much fit into what this film is. But also, there's a novel called The Damnation Game, which is, I mean, thematically super similar, and like you could read that and get some big Hellraiser vibes from that as well.
Is there any crossover with like the cenobites into any more of Clive Barker's work? Because they do seem pretty.
Yeah. So he has a character called Harry Damore, who's a sort of private eye investigator who pops up in a lot of his stories. And they did a thing where it was basically Harry DeMille versus Pinhead, and it was sort of the big end of Pinhead. But whenever Pinhead shows up in Clive Barker stories, he's never quite what this character is. There's like, I don't know, there seems to be more to him, I guess. But I don't know. I think Damnation Game and Books of Blood. If you want more of the horror Clive Barker stuff, if you want more of the sort of fantasy world building stuff, there's the Great and Secret Show, and Imagica, which I've not read, but apparently that's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've got some questions for you based on the 100 episodes we've recorded.
Okay, go for it.
I've sounded pretty downbeat then, but I've just got sniffles.
Bloody questions. So, yeah.
Can you tell me in minutes what was the shortest episode of Horror Hangout?
I'm going to say 42 minutes and 12 seconds.
Well, I've only got it in minutes, so don't go mugging me off with seconds here.
42 minutes.
It's 41 minutes.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Wow. And can you hazard a guess as to what film we reviewed?
It would have been one that we probably weren't too keen on. It would have been early on. I don't know.
It was episode 3.
Yeah. Which
was Evil Dead.
Okay.
So we're finding our feet in terms of the structure of the Horror Hangout, I think.
Yeah.
So minutes probably smashed through it. Come on, let's do a podcast. Okay, in minutes, can you tell me what the longest episode of Horror Hangout has been so far?
It would have been with Andy.
Yeah.
And it would have been I would probably say like hour and 43 minutes.
Jesus. Hour and 48.
Okay, yeah, and that would have been
and it was one with Andy.
We did a super long one fairly recently. That would have been towards the tail end of the show. I'd say like episode 93.
93. Hazard a guess of what film it was? I mean, it's not 93, but...
Okay, I thought I'd try it. 94.
94.
What was it?
It would have been a film. Right, just as a clue, a film we all enjoyed.
The Thing.
It was The Thing. Yes, you're correctly.
Yeah.
It was episode 61.
Whoa, Thing. That was ages ago.
It was ages ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a quick fire round. I'm going to give you a title of a film that we reviewed, and you try and tell me what episode number it was.
Okay.
Just to try and work out the timeline in your head, okay? So
impossible, yeah.
13 Ghosts.
72.
It was episode 44.
Right.
Again, that doesn't feel like that we reviewed that long ago, but
no.
It was clearly a while ago. Okay, 28 days later.
That would have been episode 40.
It was episode 28.
Really? Okay.
How things come together, eh?
Yeah.
What about your cat people?
Episode 13?
Episode 6.
What? The times aren't working out in my head. Go on.
2 more. Alone in the Dark.
Episode 71.
Episode 77. Well, I mean, that's pretty close. We'll give you a win for that. And the final one is It Follows, which I think may have been the first episode where Andy joined us. I might be wrong on that, but let's say it was.
I would say episode 22. 17.
Episode 23.
Oh, it's 22 I meant.
23. Well, to be fair, you're pretty spot on with 2 of those at least.
out of all of them, you got 2.
I was gonna try and work out exactly how many hours of podcast we've done, but I couldn't find a way to work it out real quick. I was trying to I had an Excel spreadsheet open and stuff, but I couldn't quite copy the details I needed. So maybe I'll work that out at some point as well.
Yeah, you might be able to do it. Maybe I'll work out a way.
And then we can work out, the days we've spent just at each other. There we go. Episode 100 in the bag.
Done. Hellraiser done. That feels like we've crossed the big one off the list. So next, we're we're still working out the details of the 24-hour horror marathon.
I mean, we're hoping it'll happen some point in July. I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
But we're not sure when yet. So next week, Ari Aster.
Midsummer, yeah.
Yeah, which obviously is getting a lot of it's on the hype circuit. It comes out this week. I've seen a lot of reviews. Well, not actual reviews, but just one line discussions.
Good.
That it's terrifying. It's bone chilling. It's life changing. It's genre defining. So
the only film that's ever actually been bone chilling for me was The Day After Tomorrow, only because it was really cold in the cinema.
Yeah. Oh, it was cold in the cinema as well.
And in the film. So I don't know if it sort of added. And I had like an icy Coke.
If you had an ice blast as well, that would have really.
They never last long. I'm already finished with them before the film starts.
Brain freeze.
Yeah.
There we go.
Bone chilling. Brain chilling.
Good fun.
Yeah, cool, man. So this show is brought to you by Hawk and Cleaver. Were you going to say something?
Yeah. I guess I'm going to say 100 episodes. Thanks to everyone who's ever listened to an episode. Thanks to anyone who's ever been a guest on the show, because we've had a few. Thanks to anyone who's ever made a horror film, good or bad, for us to discuss and enjoy, or not enjoy. Because without any of those elements, this podcast wouldn't exist. I wouldn't exist. I would exist.
Thanks to that guy who's hanging upside down in his car, listening to his final moments.
Yeah. Thanks to that guy.
If you made it to this point of the show, thanks.
If you made it to this point, get out of the car before it blows up.
Too late.
Too late.
It's gone. Yeah.
Ball of flames. He died doing what he loved.
Being stood on his balls. Ball of flames. Is that what that move is called?
Yeah. Ball crush.
Okay.
A testicle kebab.
This show is brought to you by Hawk and Cleaver. Head over to hawkandcleaver.com. Become a patron over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovac Cowman for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, give us a rating and review in iTunes. And remember to subscribe. Thanks to my co-host Ben for being a right horror dude.
Thank you very much, Luke, for the 100th time. Thank you.
We are now married. Right, so I'll end this episode.
I do.
I do too.